Hi everyone, it's Jemma aka Aussie Bookworm. I am so excited to be doing my top 2017 books and also a few that I didn't like. So maybe a recap of what I read this year for Literary Gladiators channel. So I'll just start. When I put this phone down, you won't see like my lovely backdrop. I think the last time I did a video, I was still in the UK. I am back in Australia. Currently home for Christmas on my parents' farm. You might see my shirt. It's like Santa. I think it's hilarious, but no one's laughed at it yet, so give us a thumbs up if you actually think it's funny. Actually, the view didn't go. That's cool. Alright, so one of the first books that I read and loved this year, well, as actually a series. It's the Iron Fae series by Julie Kagawa. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But this is a series about the Fae. And it actually had a lot of, like noteworthy characters, like Puck from A Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare, and all these other characters, like Tatiana. And it was one of the first series I'd read in a while that was, full fantasy and was just really nice and had that forbidden romance, which is always my favourite theme going through. And I literally read, I think there's maybe 6 of them in the series. There was 3 and then there was another 3 or 4. And I read them within January. And I was so glad that I actually got them from my library when I was still in the UK in Barnsley. So there was that. Another book I read, these aren't in order now because I'm like, I actually can't remember. It's called The Zero Waste Home, and it's by Bay, it's spelled B-E-A if you want to look her up, Johnson. And I was so excited about this book. My friend lent it to me in the Netherlands, and it kind of opened my eyes to the world of waste and how there's so many ways that we can replace all the things that are like, single-use plastic and things like that, so that we're actually making a better impact on our world rather than just, filling our oceans with rubbish. And by 2050, they think that we'll have more plastic in the ocean than fish, which is terrifying. So I loved this book because it gave really simple ways which we can, reduce our waste. And there was like reduce, reuse, recycle, and then there was 2 other R's that I've forgotten. But check it out if you're wanting to, make your contribution to the world better. Another book I read was Our Endless Numbered Days, and that was by Claire Fuller. This is a really interesting book that I picked up in Doncaster at a book exchange, and it was about this girl, and her dad was like paranoid that the world was going to end, and he stockpiled all these things, and he ended up taking her. This is Tilly. Say hi, Tilly. Hi. He ended up taking her into Germany, like in his cabin in the woods, and they lived there for like 8 years, and it was crazy. And he told the girl that the world as they knew it had been wiped out, and there was nothing beyond the ridge. And it kind of looked at how she had a bit of Stockholm syndrome and all of those things. It was a really interesting read. Keeping on that, I really like books that are kind of survivalist and, post-apocalyptic, you know what I'm saying, end of the world stuff. I read On the Island by Tracy Garvis Greaves. I've been wanting to read this for ages, and it's kind of like Blue Lagoon. A boy and a girl end up, she thinks she's a dog. They end up on an island, and it's like stranded, and how will they survive? It was beautiful and lovely and wonderful. Yeah, it was that. I'm gonna keep going. Another book I read, I think I read actually when I got back to Australia, was Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare, and I was so excited to read it. And it was just as good, and actually got me so much back into like the that whole world. And I was like, oh, I want to read City of Bones and all of that again, and I didn't because I had heaps of other books that I should have and will read. And so yeah, I read that and I loved it so much, and yeah, I'm eagerly reading book 3. Hurry up already. the books that I'm reading actually at the moment are the Lunar Chronicles. Sorry, I don't have the physical copy because most of these I read, you know, in the UK, and I was borrowing them or I had to leave them over there. And then the ones that I do have, I'm just not going to mess it up. And I'm sorry I'm rambling, but that's what I do, and that's why you're watching this video. So yeah, the Lunar Chronicles. I'm currently listening to them on Audible. This isn't sponsored or anything, by the way. And the first 3 books actually I got off my library app. And then the last one, they were like, I was chasing them up for ages, like, are you going to get this? And then finally the lady was like, honestly, probably not for a while. And I was like, thank you. So then I subscribed to Audible and I listened to it, and it was so good. I loved this, like, if you haven't read this series, like, I know there is a lot of hype about it. It's by Marissa Meyer, and the first book is kind of like it's very loose spin-off of Cinderella. The second book is about Scarlet, who is, you know, Red Riding Hood. Then there is Cress, which is Rapunzel, and then there's Winter, Snow White. And it's this whole post-apocalyptic, no, it's actually not post-apocalyptic, I just wondered if I could say it. Bit of a dystopian world. It is on Earth, but there are people living on the moon. I was just trying to see if I could find it in the sky, but it's actually almost storming, so you can't really see the sky. So yeah, there's people living on the moon, and they have these special powers where they can manipulate people with mind control, and it's like really tense. And my favorite bit though was just the romances, like, between all 4 girls. It was so lovely. I was like, Chris, it was beautiful. And I love that series, and I'm currently listening to Stars Above, and I have to finish it. I've got 2 more hours to go. It's like the, you know, short stories that go along with it. I have to finish it because it's my book 40 on my Goodreads reading challenge. So I'm currently 39. I just have 2 hours left of that to go, and then I will have successfully completed my challenge, which will be good. Like, a book that I adored was called The Art of Racing in the Rain, and that is by Garth Stein. And I was suggested that I read this book by one of my colleagues when I was working at the bookstore, like 2 years ago nearly. And it was such a lovely story. It's about this dog and how he gets, like, adopted by a man, and it shows, you know, his life and his perception of things, and it's just really lovely. So if you want to read a really lovely book, read that. Okay, a little note on the Lorien Legacies. I started reading them 8 years ago, yeah, and I think I read maybe the first 4 or 5 books, and then I stopped because I kept getting irritated that I would reread all of them, and then I would have to wait for the next one. So I had the last 3 books to read, and I finally wrapped them up. And I do really love this series, but I just find there are way too many combat scenes, and I'm not really I don't like the combat scenes, and there was too many. So there was that. But everything else I really liked. However, upon finishing it, being like, hurrah, you know, 8 years, it's finally over, I learned that there is now a spin-off series, and I will not be reading that anytime soon. And I went on Book Depository, and I bought the 5, like, short novella books that go with it. And by the time I finished the series, I was like, I'm too tired to read that, so I didn't. The last book I am going to mention for my 2017 kind of a wrap-up, I guess. Like, I read essentially 40 books, so this is just the highlights, is Harry Potter Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling. The story behind this book, obviously, you know, you probably know I like Harry Potter a little, just a little. When I was in the UK, I was thinking, of course I'm going to get a chance to go and see it in London. It'll be amazing. I did not get a chance. Actually, my best friend who I worked with overseas, she was sick one day, and so she was at home, and it was the day that the tickets came out, and I was like, you have to be on there, and she did, and she was amazing, and she actually went to the doctor. She took her little laptop with her to the doctors so that she was still in queue. And she got there to purchase the tickets, and they were like, oh, these are for 2018. And by that time, I knew that I wasn't going to be in the UK in 2018, so we couldn't get them, and I'm devastated, but it is coming to Melbourne. But I ended up borrowing it from a friend and reading it. I liked it. I did feel like it was a fan fiction, not going to lie. And the whole twist, I didn't like that, and I feel... I'm not going to discuss it just in case, you know, people... Actually, I am going to discuss it. So if you haven't read it, look away now. Bellatrix and Voldemort? What? The only way I can see this happening is because, like, not because Voldemort loved her, because obviously he can't love anyone, but maybe because Bellatrix, you know, and obviously Bellatrix loved him, but Voldemort wanted an heir, and maybe that's possibly why they had a baby, but like, what? Anyway, I only have 20 seconds that my phone will let me do more filming of. So I'm going to wrap it up. Really excited to see you all. If you want to follow me on social media, look down below. And I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, have a great holiday. Over and out. Bye. And keep reading and stuff. Like.